Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, wherever you are in the world, and welcome. Welcome to the Infinite Way, where spirituality meets humanity. My name is Dr. Enolia, and it brings me great pleasure to introduce our guest today. His name is Michael Coyle. Michael is a business strategist, a team builder, and a speaker with over 20 years of experience driving transformation and growth in business and teams. Michael Coyle is a renowned expert in business strategy, team development, and leadership. His passion lies in empowering teams to unlock their full potential and achieve exceptional results. As a seasoned change maker, Michael has worked with diverse organizations, from startups to established corporations, helping them to navigate complex challenges and capitalize on new opportunities. His expertise spans sales performance optimization, team dynamics, and strategic planning. Michael's unique strength lies in his ability to inspire and motivate teams, equipping them with the skills and the mindset necessary to succeed in today's competitive landscape. His approach combines proven methodologies with a deep understanding of human psychology, fostering a culture of collaboration, innovation, and excellence. Through keynote speaking, coaching, and consulting, Michael has impacted countless businesses and teams worldwide. And his insightful guidance and supportive approach have earned him a reputation as a trusted advisor and catalyst for growth. Welcome, Michael.
Wow, thank you. So nice to be on your show, Dr. Enolia.
So glad to have you here. And there's so much to talk about here because, as a team builder, a change maker, you're definitively taking a look at how that framework of that paradigm looks. And I guess I would just ask you, looking at today's paradigms and knowing that we're kind of going through a paradigm shift, how do you perceive what that paradigm shift looks like and what we're in for?
Wow, gee whiz, what a deep question to start with. But here we go. Let's dive right into it.
Let's start right into it.
Absolutely believe it. So you gotta feel it. You gotta just know that something's shifting, something's changing. We're in the midst of the change. Change is not always people's favorite subject. They tend to shy away from change. We don't like it. We don't want it because we're scared of it. And sometimes it works out for the best, and sometimes it doesn't. I think that's why people don't like change that much. But when we're moving into a new paradigm, and it's been predicted, I mean, through many, many of the older traditions, the teachings that have been passed down, they've all told us of an incoming time, a new time where things will be different to what we're experiencing. It will be the unveiling of the truth. It will be the revealing of your essence. And I think that's the paradigm that we're going into. We're going to be moving into a space of understanding who we really are, understanding each other, seeing our deep connection with each other, understanding our very deep essence, and how can we not be excited about that? I mean, that is
You're
so
right.
exciting.
You're right. And understanding that technology plays a big role in this. How do you see this paradigm shift with unveiling the essence of how we are and how that complements with the technology that's coming through?
Yeah, there's so much going on with the technology. I mean, because of the internet, we can talk to each other, have a conversation, record it, and share it with the rest of the world. That in itself is just mind blowing. And it just shows us that this paradigm is whatever it is, it's bringing us closer together. The world used to be so far apart. For us to travel from one part of the world to the other used to take days, weeks, months. And now, a few hours, or we can just connect with someone in a few seconds. So there's a lot of good that technology is bringing. Yes, there's a lot of dark side that technology is bringing, but it's there to help us connect. It's help us to learn and get close together. I know everyone's talking about AI at the moment and how it's going to affect us and how it's going to either be our demise or it's going to be our quantum leap.
You
And
know, oh, I don't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, go ahead.
no, no, no. I see. It doesn't matter which way you see it. We don't know where that's going to go, which is also in a way quite exciting. So we can see how this develops.
Yeah, as far as AI is concerned, I subscribe to the fact that, no matter how you look at AI is mathematically put together such that computer engineers can achieve certain realms, right? And if you think about that, understanding that as a computer engineer, and I used to program, so I'm kind of coming from a techie point of view, that AI is zero and one. The bottom line is that it works or it doesn't work based on how we program it. And
Hmm.
I always get this feeling that people feel that AI has consciousness. It does not. It is programmed. So therefore, we as human beings, as beings of consciousness, are capable of creating AI. We're also capable of ensuring that it aligns to where we need it to align. And that understanding that AI will never be a human being, it can't hold consciousness. It is zeros and ones.
Yeah.
That we need to just grasp that, and we need to change the way we look at technology and the way we think about it and put it in perspective of where it needs to be to facilitate supporting us. And that's what it's there for. And then that we need to stop coming from this place of fear and learn and then broaden our own horizons and and resolve the ignorance that we might have around not knowing by diving in and learning. And
Yeah.
so that's a little of my take on it, but
Well,
um
the
go ahead.
like what you were saying, the name itself says artificial intelligence because it'll always be artificial. Even if it creates its own sense of consciousness, that consciousness will, in essence, still be artificial.
Exactly.
So it can't really ever grasp our consciousness or will be our consciousness. It'll always just be an artificial version of it.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
like you said, it's our tool. It's not who we are, or it's not going to take over. It's just the tool that we can use. And on that point, everyone's like, yeah, well, it's going to take away jobs. It's going to take away this. What we're going to do for money? And yeah, what if it does take away all that? And maybe we can spend more time with our family and our friends and picnic more and sit by the pool and relax a little bit more. Maybe that's
Or
this new paradigm that we're going into.
exactly, exactly. Or even better yet, we could study. We could learn to become
Yes,
masters of what we are passionate about. That we have more
exactly.
time to really unpack and really take apart that which we crave to learn and understand and be have our expertise embrace, but we love to rush around and we love to be too busy and don't have time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, which leads me kind of into our next delve of the question, which is that before we even jump into teams, talk about how the generations have changed. Like when I was born, I think I was considered a baby boomer. Okay. We're aging out. Okay. Whatever. And you have the Gen X, you have the this, and you have the that. What are you seeing in the differences of each generation that's coming forward? Because how each generation interacts um, to the job market is quite different than the previous. So, what are your thoughts around that?
Well, it's quite interesting how the there is often an illusion that there is differences between the generations
Okay.
because sometimes kids will be kids and they grow up and they become teenagers and they rebel, and then from a rebellion they learn some kind of responsibility, then they go and they take accountability, and then they become wise when they get older, and that's the pattern that happens throughout every single generation. It's inevitable. That's the hero's journey. That's the path. And we
Right.
just think that because the youngsters of today spend more time um, in their rooms on their cell phones. Oh, they're so different and they're wasting their time and they've got no ambition, whatever. But we were the same listening to our records on the on the radio in exactly the same way. We just never had the cell phone. And so we have to kind of like get past that and realize that we all have to go on the hero's journey and we're all the same thing. I think what's different these days is the generation of AI and the generation of tech that has played a huge thing. Technology has become so far. And I think the kids today, I mean, the 6 year old, the 3 year old picks up a computer and knows how to use it. And then the 80-year old is still trying to send the email. And so I think there's generations, and I read a lot about how there's different kind of energy kids coming in. I think we've got the crystal kids, we've got the rainbow kids, and all these kids that
Indigo children. That's correct. Yeah.
yes, and they've got different kind of different energies. And if you look down at those energies, they tend to be a little bit more spiritual and they tend to be a little bit more higher grade. And so you've got this generation where the technology was high, but the newer ones that are coming in, they're very soft and gentle and loving and playful. And some of them aren't even interested in computers and technology. They want to have fun and all that type of stuff. And so the problem now comes in the workplace when these teenagers are now entering the workplace and they're coming in from the tech of solitude of having your phone and being connected with the world through your phone, not really having that many real friends or something like that, and bringing this kind of energy into the workplace. And sometimes you have to be a team player, sometimes you have to work in different with people on different levels. And the new generation doesn't always like that. They don't always like the way things are being run. They don't like 9 to 5 jobs. They don't like some of the things that my generation just fell into and didn't actually question. We
Right.
just kind
And
of like,
I was just going to say, and the fact that my generation and prior to my generation, the loyalty to a company, the stick to itiveness, no matter what takes place, I'm going to stay until they push me out the door. This is my level of education. This is it, and I really have no interest in learning more or anything else. I just want to do this part of the bubble of my job, and that's it. And I just don't see the new generation coming in feeling any of those things at all.
no sense of loyalty, no sense of sticking with the company for 50 years. I mean, that would be absolutely crazy. Where's the next opportunity? Where can I grow? Where can I find a different adventure? What kind of job can give me travel opportunities? What kind of job can help me to get into a different country? I mean, these are the priorities of youngsters of today. They don't think about, am I going to get a retirement fund?
Mm-hmm.
They're thinking of how can I grow? How can I move? How can I expand? How can I work on my passion, which is Instagram? you know and so the intention is completely different. The whole intention of coming into the workplace is already completely different. And then you've got companies that are supporting that. Companies like Google, tech companies,
Okay.
where they're saying, oh, work whenever you like, come and play and have fun and sauna and eat and live on the campus and do whatever you want. And so they support that idea, and then people buy into it. And so more and more people want that lifestyle. They want that freedom as well.
And then comes in the expert Michael Coyle. My team's not working. I'm not getting the productivity out of them the way that I need to. How do I, as leadership, get the team to produce the way that I need them to produce? And I know
Yeah.
I go to you, and how do you share? Where do you begin?
Well, after wiping the tears away, then we then we have to go in and just see. We have to go back and see, how does the company function? How does the team function? We always have to start out and then we assess it. We have to go in and see who's in the right position. Maybe people aren't in the right position, and we have to maybe shift things around. And then we have to see how we can build that team up. And what a lot of management leadership doesn't do is actually listen to what the team actually want. Some people, the team want to work remotely and connect once a week in the office. The
Right.
team want to have a once a week social. The team doesn't want to have Monday meetings. It's too early. They want to have Wednesday afternoon meetings, more in the middle of the week. And so the thing about leadership, first of all, they also have to listen. Gone are the days where you have to say, do this or else you're fired. If you want to
Mm.
retain staff, if you want to manage the greatest resource you have, which is your staff, then you have to listen to what they have to say. And people also want to feel like they're contributing, even though they're not the boss. They want to feel recognize that they've made a contribution and that they've been heard. And the minute, that changes, that whole dynamic changes, then we can see, okay, the team wants this. Where do we meet halfway? Because the team can't have everything sometimes, and the leadership can't have everything sometimes. So maybe we have to have the Monday morning meeting, but maybe at 10 o'clock, not at 8 o'clock. So, then we compromise and we go and we see, is this a way? And then once we can find some kind of uh, groundwork, we can create the systems around that. We can create communication channels. We can then see, okay, how do we hold people accountable? How do we work as a team? And then we can build that team, bring them together, connect them on a different level. And that's a beautiful process, just to help people get a team from scattered and disorientated into working together as a unit, as one harmonious system. It's really, really powerful.
So, I love the approach, and I just have to go back to the old days when I was in corporate, and we decided that we're going to formulate teams as a corporation. And I worked for a Fortune 500 company in New York. And so they brought in TQM, Total Quality Management, and they said, you will train, and then we're going to expect you to perform like this. And a lot of the work that we did, some teams were able to formulate, other teams were not able to formulate. Some people worked together really well, other teams got together and it was just chaos because they were territorial, they were individualistic, they resented the fact that somebody was encroaching on their territory and wanted to know more. I mean, all of these dynamics took place. And I look at that because that came out of, I believe it came out of China. It was like the Kaizen process. We're going to do all these things. And I know you know what buzzwords I'm using right here. And
Yes.
so I look at that, and they took it as a one size fits all. And I
Yeah,
look at that and I go, that wouldn't work today, would it? I mean, what are your thoughts? Would something, a one size fits all coming out of one particular location saying, this is how you revolutionize getting productivity out of your worker, one size fits all, make them all do it. And that's what we,
absolutely. There's no way it's going to be happening in today's world with the minds that we have today, from the consciousness of where people are today. Those approaches never work. And I think that's why corporations in general around the world are struggling because they're trying to take that mold and fit it into their company. And it's not working anymore. And that's why smaller businesses are attracting more staff because there's a little bit more freedom. They've been heard, the team functions better, and so it feels a little bit safer. And so we have to go draw back to the drawing board with the corporations, and you have to design the program according to what works for the business and the industry, because the industry is also important, and there needs to be different ways the team work. Let's say, for example, a sales team needs to have KPIs if they
Right.
are millennials or not. They need to have some kind of regulation and some kind of target and all that type of stuff. But at the same time, they can set those for themselves.
Right.
I
Right.
just worked with a company and we had to redo the entire targets for the sales team. And we let the sales team do it, set the target. We had the debriefing afterwards, and the owner was like, wow, I wasn't going to set it that high. So
See, there you go. Oh, wow.
they surprised him. And that's what happens today. We still need the systems. We still need the boundaries. We still need work to function. But I think it's more like, okay, let that individual step up. Let them take responsibility, and they can be accountable firstly to themselves, and then to the company. And that changes a lot. And once we do that for the individual and it seeps into the team, then it becomes a little bit easier to incorporate.
So, how do you deal with the dynamics of the leadership? A lot of times they'll bring you in and they'll say, make the team work, but then you find out the toxic environment that the leadership has created wouldn't allow or afford this particular team to prosper or grow in any respect, and that it's not the workers' problem, it's the leadership problem. How,
Well,
how do you deal with that? Yeah.
to be honest, that most of the time, if the leader is the problem, it's so easy to fix a team. But to fix the leadership and the toxic culture that they create is probably the hardest part of my job,
Okay.
because they don't see it often that they're the problem. They got the blind spots. They think everything's just working fine. It's worked like this for the last 20 years and we'll do just fine. That's the way it is. And they don't realize everything's always shifting and changing. And so changing the leadership, changing that mindset is vital. So I always incorporate leadership training and working with the CEO management as separate from the team, because we've got to get their mindset right. We've got to get them into that space of doing things that leaders do. I even do this. Some of them, I put them on a coaching program where they have to like, okay, learn how to listen, learn how to do the coaching tricks and build rapport and all
Yeah.
these different coaches things. So you can get into that mindset, because once you're in that mindset, then you can slowly start to see how to develop a different culture.
Okay.
And I think that's what you said, importantly, is the culture. And people don't understand the power of that so much, because you could have the best job, the best title, the greatest salary. But if the culture is toxic, oh, what a miserable life you can have.
Yeah, yeah. And then when you're going through the teamwork and they're forming, storming, and then norming, buzzwords,
Yes.
how do you get to the point where you really can break down the barriers? How do you introduce, I can say, for the lack of better term, spirituality? We know that there is a component of energy that's below all of this. To not acknowledge it would just be foolish. We don't have to call it spirituality, we don't have to call it energy. But the bottom line is that's how we relate, because we are energy beings human beings are energy beings. We're energy beings in a shell. So therefore, how we feel is significant.
Yeah.
How we are projected upon is significant. How we feel valued is significant. How do you break through the team dynamics to get to that level of heartfelt talk to get people to lay down those blocks?
Well, luckily these days, because people are so much more aware, because there's so much more information out there, that people bring that up naturally. You
Wow.
know, people will be
Okay.
in a team function, whatever, and someone will say, "Oh, I've got my angel around me," and then suddenly that would kind of like bring up a conversation. So it happens more and more easily these days. I think, but without using the language, I just bring it up all the time. I'm constantly talking about the one mind, the conscious mind, the let's tap into the group mind. So it's still exactly the same thing. I just use a different phrase, a different word, and people get it. They understand. They know all about it. And when we tap into that group mind, consciousness, group, whatever you want to call it, that's
Right.
where magic happens. And I explain that a lot. I say, yes, you can sit and you can come up with 100 ideas. But if there's five of us and we're sitting, we can come up with 5,000 ideas. And so we tap into a whole different thing. And just as we can tap into 500,000 ideas, we can also come up and tap into 5,000 ways to destroy.
Yes, we can.
We
We're good
can
at
also
that.
come up with how we can destruct, uh, create rebellion, and all that type of stuff. So I often talk about that. And are you helping or are you sabotaging? Are you
Mm,
helping the company to progress or are you standing in the way? And yeah, those are big things. And you generally find that the person that's resisting, sabotaging, needs to be pulled aside. You got some personal coaching because those are patterns that they are personally having in their life
right.
that we
Right.
then need to address first before we can let them into the group consciousness again, type of thing.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
So one of the things that I think about, and I'm going to tap into your strategist side right now, is the fact that I was listening to Drucker's forum a little while ago, and they talk about how industry is changing and our economy is changing from a product based industry where everything and all of the focus was on the product to a knowledge based industry, and that we need to focus more on the knowledge worker, and that our information is power, and that is what's going to progress us throughout the next 50 100 plus years until something else or a new buzzword comes up. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts about how our economy is changing, the industry is changing, are corporations grasping the fact that they need to shift to a knowledge worker base? And then what does a knowledge worker base look like?
Well, I think the word we're looking for is intellectual property.
Oh, yeah.
And intellectual property is your knowledge, your what you've created. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a product. If I've come up with an idea, it's my intellectual property. How do I secure that? How do I safeguard that? How do I turn it into a profit that could be online, that could be in the workplace, or an actual physical product, no matter, whatever it is. So this intellectual property is incredibly important because it gives people protection and it helps them to create industry for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, an author needs that intellectual property so that they can survive and they can make some money from it. So, are we going into an information based? Yes, definitely. It has to be going that way. We've got so many products. We don't need more products, you know. And I think maybe after the intellectual property, we'll be going into a different kind of consciousness business as well. I think that might be also on the cards of on a different level um, when AI takes over the products.
It's true because like to make products and having that factory line, I work for a Fortune 500 company and I've had the great fortune of working in particular manufacturing sites. And so, we can make a machine that can do anything, period. We're all we have to do is just take the time to do it, and we can
Yeah.
bridge every gap. So you figure to exhaust that, we will eventually fully automate manufacturing plants, and all we need is just workers to make sure that the machines are working appropriately. Shifting that products isn't always the main focal point, and that intellectual property is. How does one really set the boundaries about keeping their intellectual property? I mean, once you share, you share. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this unveils.
I
I
think
understand the basis of it, but please
Yeah,
do.
I think yeah. Well, you can get a copyrighted or trademark. However, in today's world, I mean, there's not that many brand new ideas anyway. So even if you get a copyrighted or trademark, you can still have people copy it. That's,
Yeah, yeah,
Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola spends thousands every year of people still trying to copy their stuff. So does Disney and all that type of stuff. And if you're a small business and someone copies what you're doing, I mean, you don't want to go to court and unless it's a
spend
500
thousands of
company,
dollars. Yeah, it's
you
ridiculous.
know. So it's a little bit of a false kind of protection to copyright or trademark, whatever it is. But it does give you a little bit of security, a little bit of boundary, so people don't copy everything that you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to switch gears on you because here you are, this phenomenal person doing work that goodness knows we know is needed in the world. How did you, what's your journey? How did you come to being a team leader? Tell us who Michael Coyle is and the journey
Okay.
that brought him to the strategist and team builder, and because I know a little of your story and I know that you didn't start there.
Oh no, it was a very far journey. Gee whiz, I was an entrepreneur very, very young. I became a nightclub DJ, and then I went on to open three of my own nightclubs, and it was great until it just got a little bit regulated with bouncers and all that type of stuff. So I didn't want to get involved in that whole business anymore, drugs and bouncers and that. So I just saw the writing on the wall. I sold it all up and went traveling. I went to America, went to London, and then I made my way over to India. And in India, I never met a guru or anything like that. I just kind of like became a vegetarian. Just decided that was it. I'll just be
Okay,
vegetarian. Came back to
okay.
South Africa and felt dreadful because I was eating dreadful food because I was eating bread with potato chips. Just felt awful. So I went to go see a nutritionist and she put me on a diet and felt so amazing that I studied nutrition and studied a whole lot of alternative therapies and eventually worked in a health shop and started my own health shop and did that for a while until I came into a therapy called life alignment, which
Okay.
I learned about in well, I finished in 2000 and started doing life alignment therapy. And that led to life coaching and then eventually to business coaching, which is more where I focus on these days of the last 10 years of helping businesses and corporations. And the team it just, it's part of the whole thing. You go into a business, you work with the CEO, come help my team, and that's how that develops. I find that the things that develop organically generally work out the best. And so that was my little journey of opening businesses, and some did really, really well. Others did not do really well. So
Yeah.
I understand how business works, and just like learning, NLP coaching, business coaching, part of the circle of excellence, doing that type of stuff really helps me to understand or see where business is going wrong.
Okay.
Because often, if you're a business owner, you're so deep in it, you don't even know sometimes the blind spot. And
Right.
someone from the outside can come in and say, "Oh, there it is." That's not working right. You know it's not right, but you just were blind to it, or you just didn't want to admit it. And
Yes.
that's just what a business coach is, I think, is supposed to do. Go find the blind spots and then see how everything can work harmoniously and work towards its goal of making the business money.
Hmm.
Yeah, because
Exactly
that's
that.
also important.
So what a journey. So where did Move Effect come into play?
So
Because
Move
I
Effect
love
is
the
like,
name of
yeah, that's
it.
my new branded company. I've just decided I'm going to rebrand, and the Move Effect came out of all the different sessions I had with my coaches. And
Okay.
I love music. I love dancing. I love, just the feeling life, feeling the pulse of life, feeling energetic, feeling energized, and move was the right thing. And so the whole concept behind the move effect is that we take a person or business generally, and we get them from feeling stuck, feeling blocked, shake them up, get them moving, and the effect is the success that they're looking for.
Wonderful.
And so
Wonderful.
that's kind of the blueprint of the move effect.
Wow. I know that we're coming up on an hour, so I love talking to you because I could talk to you for hours about this stuff. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to ask you to leave our audience with a thought. These small business owners that are out here trying to survive, they're working with their teams. They may or may not be able to engage somebody like yourself or a coach or a life coach or even for themselves as in leadership. What should we leave them with? What would you leave them with in terms of engagement, being a successful business owner, being a successful leader, and working with their teams and what they should be aware of?
Okay, I think the first thing to start with is don't think that you can solve it all by yourself. I mean, for many, many years, I thought, oh, I can do this. I can develop my own company, and I do this, and I know marketing, and I can sell and all that type of stuff. But you will save hours, lots and lots of money if you just first of all find someone that can help you. That is so vital in today's world. You don't have to do it by yourself. I mean, find someone who can help you. Might even be your own team. It doesn't have to be a business coach or someone on the outside. But as a leader, leaders don't always have to handle it all by themselves. We don't have to do that now. We can get help. That's the first thing I would suggest. Second thing is just listen. Really, really listen. People want to be validated. They want to be heard. They want to be understood. And you don't understand the potential that people have. Oh my word, the potential that people have once you can open that box, once you can allow them to just express themselves, be part of the whole team, just to have their voice heard. And yes, maybe it's going to be good, but and maybe it's going to be bad. Doesn't matter. That they might have that one little idea or concept that your whole business could thrive on. So
Mm-hmm.
listen to what people say. And the whole energy of the being the boss and the big man and the CEO or the woman, the way the devil wears Prada and all that type of stuff. Oh, that's just like so outdated. It's not gonna work moving forward. You don't need
Right.
that kind of energy. Work towards creating culture of harmony, respect, understanding. Um, accountability. There needs to be work done, you know, creating accountability of actually getting things done and not just stepping on toes or trying to be nice or not actually getting it done. So I think those are the main things. You know, just get help if you need it. Even if you don't need it, get help. Listen to people and see what's needed, and most of all, create a better culture. Because as the leader, you can be the creator of a great culture, or you can have a toxic culture. And no one wants to come to work in a toxic culture, and neither do you.
Yes, exactly. And I think I would be remiss if I didn't ask you this question. Um, what are the red flags that my team is dysfunctional, or what is the red flag that my leadership is dysfunctional? I think that's important for people to know so that they know when to engage somebody like yourself.
Yeah, gossiping. Definitely, big red flag. If people are gossiping too much, that's a huge flag. Bullies, if there are bullies in the team, huge red flag. And the bullying is quite simple. The people that go around naming and shaming, the ones that want to also be the most perfect and just put everyone else down for not being perfect or not having everything done on time. These also like the silent bullies. You know,
Okay.
I think
Okay.
registering the culture when someone walks into a room. Is everyone relaxed or is everyone on eggshells? And
Ah, okay.
that's a huge red flag. And productivity. If people are wanting to work, that's green flag. But if productivity is going down, that's a huge red flag. If people are having burnout and stress, huge red flag. We do an assessment with burnout and stress to see what the overall average of each individual is. We can tell if the person is burnt out. We can also tell if they're looking for another job. That's how excellent the assessment is. But then we can also
Yeah.
see in your industry where compared to other businesses in your industry, is your company functioning healthily, or if the whole company is under burnout? So these are some of the red flags that you must look. And also you as the leader, CEO or team member, what's your energy like? Do you want to go to work? Are you excited? Are you passionate? And if not, then there's something that's draining you and it's probably draining other people as well. So you got to look and see, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, a little assessment, few things, 5 things that you can have a look at and just see and and just assess your company and see, could you be thriving a little bit better?
Mhm. I think that that's phenomenal. And I think that, as a business owner, taking those red flags and understanding that they have an impact to us and knowing when to engage, it's absolutely key. Thank you so much for that information. And this is perfect because how can people reach you? How can they reach you? By the way, you're coming out of Johannesburg in South Africa, so I wanted to make sure that people know that they'll be calling you all across the country. But please do share your contact information because you never know where you can consult from.
Yes, I'm sure you'll put it in the description, but it's michaelcoyle.co.za, michaelcoyle.co.za, or themoveeffect.com.
Mhm.
And they can email me from one of those websites. And I'm looking forward to meeting him. Make sure you say I'm from Dr. Inolia.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We're so happy to have you. And your work is so needed in the world. Thank you for what you do, your contribution. And thank you.
Thank you. It's been so much fun. It's always fun talking with you. It's been a blast.
Thank you so much. And so If you like this show and you know that somebody could use this information, please share this episode. If you know or have a business and you want to speak with somebody like Michael, please check our description box right down below. See the information, engage, engage, engage. If you like this episode, subscribe. And I just want to thank our guest, Michael Coyle, again for his wealth of knowledge on team and strategic leadership. And this has been another episode of The Infinite Way, where spirituality meets humanity. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you again. Thanks, Michael.
Goodbye. Bye.